Now it's time for the press conference, so let's get started. Dear attendees, we would like to thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to attend the press conference of the joint venture of TransAlgae and MAS ClearSight. So let us start now. First of all, please allow me to introduce to you the spokesman of the conference. The chairman and president of TransAlgae, Mr. Takashi Nishihira. Nice to meet you. The president and CEO of MAS ClearSight, Dr. Mubashir Ahmed Sheikh. The person responsible for the establishment of MAS ClearSight Japan, Mr. Ali Adnan. I will also act as the interpreter of Dr. Mubashir Ahmed Sheikh. Thank you in advance. The press conference today will go as follows. Firstly, President Nishihira of TransAlgae will give his presentation, and then it will be the presentation from Mr. Sheikh of MAS ClearSight. Following that will be the session of question and answer. At the end of the conference, it will be the contract signing ceremony for the establishment of the joint venture. Now please welcome Mr. Nishihira to give us the presentation. I would like to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend this press conference. I am Nishihira from TransAlgae Co. Limited. Thank you in advance. First of all, I want to explain to you the business TransAlgae is engaged in. Just as implied by the name of our company, algae refers to microalgae, and the algae is transformed into a variety of things, so we named our company as TransAlgae. People also refer to us as TAC. Our workflow is to produce oil from these microalgae, and we develop our business surrounding this central task. Now I would like to make a brief introduction. A number of issues exist on the Earth right now, such as global warming, oil depletion, shortage of water and food, and in the case of Japan, we also have problems brought by the nuclear power station. Microalgae are a solution for all of these problems and have been developed continuously across the globe. As we all know, microalgae is a plant. It can reduce the emission of CO2 while the plants, proliferated continuously, can generate oil in such form. Meanwhile, the oil generated from the microalgae may substitute fuel, such as diesel oil. As generally estimated, about 78% of CO2 emissions can be reduced. Since this diesel oil is used as substitute fuel, it is no longer called carbon neutral. Instead, it is referred to as carbon reduction. It is a further reduction of CO2 emissions. This is the microalgae we are talking about. In America, many countries are involved in the investment. So far, the trump card of renewable resources is microalgae, and numerous investments that accumulated show the trend. Undeniably, when it comes to oil substitutes, we have to talk shale gas and shale oil. From environmental problems to the whole world, the combination of diesel oil and biological fuel is adopted to address environmental problems. From this point of view, it is not just a matter of the price competition with diesel oil. People think such biological fuel will be continuously needed as a link for addressing environmental problems in many aspects. Of course, it is one of the biomass energies, just as we have talked about. Organism is known as the third generation, which is microalgae. Similarly, corn, cane, and jatropha are referred to as the flagmen of the next generation. Why do microalgae attract so much attention? First of all, it's about the concern of efficiency. For example, in the same area, microalgae can yield much more oil. People think that if we suppose the oil yield of corn as 1, then the same achieved by microalgae will be about 800 times more. As the oil-yielding area around the world continuously declines, microalgae as a method for continuous production of oil will surely get the attention. And without doubt, companies around the world, including Japan, will join a fierce competition in the R&D of microalgae. Now I would like to say some words about the difference between TransAlgae and other companies. Just like it has been written here, our production costs of oil, people call it crude oil, is about $80 to $100 a barrel or less. So far, many companies have discussed a solution of this equation. Firstly, one of the reasons to be enumerated is the proliferation rate. As long as a certain environment is provided to our microalgae, they can proliferate by 2 or 3 times in each summer day. Honestly, microalgae are vegetables and plants, and their proliferation will reach 1.1 or 1.2 times without any suspense. The general average proliferation rate that we have concluded may be up to 2 times. Furthermore, we once named our microalgae as TAC algae, the oil content of which reaches about 61% generally. People think that after extraction, half will become oil. On this basis, the cost of oil will be largely reduced under mass production. Of course, many research institutes, universities, etc., are carrying out further studies, and we have been committed to the final design of the complete equipment. What we have to give key consideration is the extent by which we improve the profit. One of the differences is mass culture. Take America, for example. Open culturing is usually adopted where microalgae is cultured in pools, which are dug out of fast land and with a width and depth of around 30 centimeters. In case of desert or other fast land, the pool can be constructed with concrete. The time for this construction may vary under different circumstances, but generally it is considered to be 1 to 2 years. The initial investment cost will surely continue to go up. Naturally, we will divide the oil produced by such initial investment cost. If the cost is thought to be improving, the profitability will deteriorate, saying that the cost in America is very high. Moreover, such containers, as photobiological lifters in shape of glass jars or plastic tubes, are adopted for culturing microalgae. However, the initial investment cost is also on the high side, and the cost will remain high after dividing the oil production. For this reason, we adopted 10-ton jars made from PE and with the diameter of 2.35 meters and the height of about 2.65 meters for culturing oil and microalgae. We turned from a 2-dimensional method to a 3-dimensional one so as to improve the photosynthesis efficiency of the sunshine or the supply rate of CO2 and have established mechanisms for the challenges in many different ways. People generally believe that this approach for cultivation is very efficient. In addition, we have, in our concept of construction, adopted the combination of finished products from mass production, and the initial investment cost is very low. Naturally, the operation cost is also very low, which allows our process to produce oil at a very low rate. The TAC algae that we cultured are put in the jars for continuous proliferation, after which we will, through recycling and harvesting, extract the algae to obtain green crude oil. If the green crude oil is biologically dieselized and goes through transesterification, it can be used as diesel oil and substitute fuel. Additionally, if we carry out extraction, I think it can also be transformed into bioethanol, jet, etc. If we are in the first phase at present, and by centering around biodiesel, we will seize the global market. It is advancing now. Moreover, the residual of microalgae after extraction is another supplement which will approach cheaper areas as we feed agriculture and poultry. These are various usages we have known, and we intend to continuously promote these markets. Moreover, the residual of microalgae after extraction is another supplement which will approach cheaper areas as feed for aquaculture and poultry. These are various usages we have known, and we intend to continuously promote these markets. What you see now on the screen are arranged jars weighing 10 tons. Just like solar panels, we need to make combination to make products of big and small sizes. The probable project is to configure 60 or 70,000 projects for jars weighing about 10 tons, which we have discussed a lot. Domestically, due to limited land, project negotiations are mainly centering on small modes, configuring 2,000 jars. So far, the business is continuously advancing. What we now see on the screen is dried microalgae. In the Middle East, it is the crude oil, that is the oil extracted from microalgae. There is another product which is obtained after biological dieselization of microalgae. It is pretty much the situation that I have introduced. Let's get back to the last topic. So far, our domestic projects which take up land are configured with 2,000 jars. About 6,000 spaces are taken, and the expected daily production can be 20 tons. This plan is feasible in many places. Of course, if we consider it as a business, warmer places are preferred. According to our demonstration experiment or experience, our commercial proposal will gain full profit even in Hokkaido or northeast areas. Furthermore, MAS ClearSight is also meeting journalists with us today, and they are from a warm area centering around the Middle East. Currently, they are continuously promoting the production of oil, which also falls into our consideration. Domestically, we have established partnerships with a number of large listed companies. In overseas market, we intend to take MAS ClearSight as the center and keep carrying it forward. We have drawn up the plans, and currently we are moving forward. This is the current situation of our company. In the future, we plan to establish the joint venture MAS TAC together with MAS ClearSight, and take the joint venture as the center for continuous advancing abroad. As to the situation of MAS ClearSight, I think it will be introduced later. Let's expect. In such a process, what kind of influence will MAS TAC bring to the world? I wish everyone can give thoughts to it from different points of view. We will be really honored if it is publicized by the media. Thank you. Thank you, President Nishihira. Next, we would like to talk about today's material. For various reasons, only part of the materials are translated into English. We will translate them and send all of the translated materials to analysts or anyone who has given us your business card. Next, let's welcome Mr. Sheikh from MAS ClearSight to give us his presentation.
それでは、MS クリアサイト社、プレゼンテーションの方を行わさせていただきます。ドクターシェイク様、お願いいたします。
Good morning. I take the liberty to welcome honorable press and guests. I appreciate that you're very busy. Thank you for taking the time to come and bless this event. I'd like to also thank President Nishihira for making the presentation and giving us the opportunity to form the business alliance with each other. At this point in time, I take the liberty to make the introduction of MAS ClearSight. But I have a language barrier, so I'll request my friend to do the translation. If you will, please bear with me.
皆様おはようございます。本日は大変お忙しい中、このプレス記者会見に来ていただいて誠にありがとうございます。プレスの方、また皆様ゲストの方、また西平社長、プレゼンテーションの方ありがとうございます。でこれから、MAS クリアサイトアドバイザリーグループに関して、説明をさせていただきたいと思いますのでよろしくお願いします。
Thank you, Ali. MAS ClearSight Group, I take the liberty to give you some background information. Back in 2007, Fortis Bank, which used to be a Dutch and a Belgian bank, I was privileged to be their CEO for the region in Middle East. And in 2009, with the financial crisis, which was felt by most of the financial institutions in the world, BNP Paribas Bank bought Fortis Bank franchise. I was fortunate to do a management buyout of the Fortis franchise in Middle East, and hence came the creation of MAS ClearSight, a multi-line, diversified investment banking business group.
MAS クリアサイトグループに関して説明をさせていただきます。2007年にフォーティスバンクの中近東の CEO を私が務めていました。でまた2009年に世界のファイナンシャルクライシスが訪れたときにBNP パリババンクがフォーティスバンクを買収しました。その時にフォーティスバンクのミドルイースト中近東のビジネスを私ドクター・ムバッシャル・アーメッド・シェイクがマネジメントバイアウトをしました。でそのマネジメントバイアウトをした結果 MS クリアサイトインベストメントバンキングアドバイザリーグループを設立しました。
MAS ClearSight Group is more or less 3-year-old group. We have a multicultural team, and we have physical presences in Switzerland, in England, in UAE, in Pakistan, and God willing, during the course of this year, we will go live in Japan and also in Saudi Arabia.
MAS クリアサイトグループは設立してからもう3年ぐらい経ちますが、スイス、UK、UAE、パキスタン、などなどの国で活躍をしております。また、今年に入って日本とサウジアラビアにも拠点を設立するつもりです。
MAS ClearSight Group has 6 focus sectors that we develop. This is the corporate and investment banking advisory, the wealth management advisory, Islamic banking advisory, asset management, aviation, and real estate.
MS クリアサイトでは6つのセクターにフォーカスしています。コーポレートバンキング、ウェルスマネジメント、アセットマネジメント、エビエーション。
Our global clientele are concentrated in a very specific region, and that is the Middle East region, the Africa region, South Asia region, Eastern Europe, CIS countries.
地域に関しては、中東、アフリカ、アジア、東ヨーロッパ、ロシアの地域で強く活躍をしております。
Our corporate finance and investment banking advisory focus on multi-dimensional sectors, which you can see here: agriculture, aviation, banking, manufacturing, mining, media, infrastructure, energy, and hospitality. We have a very keen focus in agriculture and in renewable energy. I
その産業に関しては、今スライドに載っておられる、分野に、非常に興味を持ち、そちらの分野に関して、投資またはアドバイザリーを務めております。でその中でも、アグリカルチャーに関しては、非常に興味を持ってまして、そこに、大きな、重点を、持っております。
I take the liberty to share with you that MAS ClearSight, this is, God willing, going to be our second venture in this great nation of Japan. Our first venture was with a Japanese company in the space of agriculture, and it's called Mebiol. Mebiol, the gentleman founder and the CEO, Dr. Mori, is here to bless this occasion. So that is a sector which is growing agriculture produce on IMEC farming. This second venture that we are very pleased and honored to be part of is the TransLG Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see the focus of the world going forward is towards food protection, conservation of water, and alternate energies. And by the grace of God, Japan has his history of producing scientific innovation to the world at large, and these two companies have given solutions to the world at large for the three scarce resources going forward.
MAS では、このアグリカルチャーに関しまして、日本ではもうすでに、ビジネスを、始めております。日本の会社で、メビオル社っていう会社がありますが、メビオル社は、非常にその、新しい技術でサステイナブルアグリカルチャーっていう分野で、世界で初の技術を出してきています。でそのサステイナブルアグリカルチャーの上で、野菜とか、果物が栽培できるようになっております。でその提携をMAS クリアサイトとメビオル社と一緒にさせていただいております。でそのビジネスはもう今中東では、スタートしております。で今回、2番目に、TransLG コーポレーションと一緒に、このアルギの、栽培、その栽培から、エネルギーをクリエイトする技術を一緒に共にやっていきたいと思っております。で世界で、食料、水、エネルギーっていう、3つの資源に関して日本はさまざまな素晴らしい、ソリューションを、作っている国でもありますので、日本に関しては、これからも非常にフォーカスを当てて、日本の素晴らしい、技術を、中近東、アフリカ、ロシア、アジアさまざまな国で MAS が活躍している国の中で技術を紹介をしていき取り入れたいと思っております。
Thank you. MAS ClearSight has looked at multiple sources of alternate energy, especially in the space of algae to oil. And after having done our exposure into different technologies, we are very pleased to support the TransLG Corporation. And as you saw from the President's presentation, the rationale that this technology, we believe in our humble opinion, will change the face of alternate energy. This will bring a cost-efficient solution to the world where water, which is 3/4 of the world, that's ocean water, can be used to create energy. Where there are desert countries, where there is no natural sources of oil, this technology can bring oil to that part of the world. So all in all, this is a technology which we believe that will bring prosperity and energy sufficiency across the world.
トランスアルジーとのマスタックっていう合弁会社を設立することによってこの素晴らしい技術を中近東MAS が活躍しているエリアに持っていくことによってアルタナティブエネルギーをサポートしていけると思います。でまた、そのオーシャンウォーター海水を使って、石油ができるっていう非常にその画期的な、技術を持って水ではなく特に中東とかに関しましては水が非常に不足してますので、海水を使ってそれでエネルギーを作っていくっていう技術を今後もっと広げようと思っております。でそれによって地域のもっと豊かになっていくと思っております。
Thank you. The joint venture that MAS ClearSight and TransLG Corporation is forming today is a joint venture which is focused on certain geographic location of the world, which is our strength in terms of our clientele, from the governments to institutions to rich investors. And the region that I've alluded to earlier is the Middle East at large, Africa, Eastern Europe, CIS countries, South Asia, and Russia.
マスタックを設立することによって、MAS クリアサイトグループの、顧客、投資家、ローカルなビジネス、を含めた、ところで、このビジネスを拡大をしていきたいと思っております。でまた、地域としては、このスライドに書いておられるように、この地域を主に、メインとして、ビジネスを拡大していきたいと思っております。
And the MAS TAC strategy, God willing, going forward is to be able to commercialize this very impressive technology and bring this Japanese technology to the world at large, whereby we will try to bring a systematically phase-by-phase approach into multiple countries in the region. So in our phase one, the important countries which are larger in size, the ones which are more warmer in climate, because the scientific research proves that a warm weather environment boosts the yield of the production of algae through this mechanism. And therefore, we will have a systematic approach with the phase one going into few countries which are more warm in climate. Phase two will go into the second set of countries, and phase three is where we hope to be able to deploy this impressive technology across 83 nations in this world.
このビジネスの拡大なんですが、フェーズを3つに分けて、まずはその、最も暖かい地域、またその、GNP が一番その大きい、地域、そういう大きい国から、徐々に、拡大していくと。でフェーズ2、フェーズ3までいくと、最終的なゴールは、83カ国へこの技術を何らかの形で採用してもらうっていう形でやっていきたいと思っております。考えております。
Respected ladies and gentlemen and the members of the press, it's once again a great pleasure and honor for me to represent MAS in this great nation and to forge this business relationship, a partnership which we hope that will bring success and will bring the technological superiority of this nation once again back onto the global map. So I'd like to thank you at this note.
皆様、今日MAS クリアサイトのプレゼンテーションをお聞きしてもらって誠にありがとうございます。プレスの方、ゲストの方、重ねて御礼を申し上げます。でまた、日本の、こういう素晴らしい技術を我々が活躍している地域へ紹介し 活躍をして、またですね、日本の非常にその素晴らしい、技術を持った、日本の技術、Japanese Technology を、我々がいる地域に、拡大していきたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. Next, we are going into question and answer session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Our personnel will send you the microphone.
ございます方は、挙手をお願いできますでしょうか。マイクを持った係の者がそちらをお伺いいたします。
Any questions? My name is Amada from the Wall Street Journal. My question is, what the probable costs will be if both the production and sales are carried out in Japan, and if the production and sales are carried out in the countries of the first phase. How much will it probably cost? Please tell me your outlook. In addition, if you have a detailed project case, could you please, to the extent possible, tell me the land, scale, and schedule of your project promotion?
その見通しを教えていただきたいのと、それからその具体的に何かプロジェクトの例があったらですね、可能な範囲でどういうような都市でどのぐらいの規模でどういうような日程でプロジェクトを進めるのかっていうのを教えてください。
Okay, first of all, I want to explain the situation in Japan. If I remember correctly, we publicized our project to the market through Nikkei Business Daily on 22nd of June last year. At that time, we simulated and performed an actual operation where the production cost of 1 liter was about 30 yen. Therefore, as to the ordinary sale price, owing to the existence of the international situation, we intend to sell at a price discounted by 5 or 10% of the purchase amount of the end customer. Actually, we have already produced complete equipment in Kumagaya, Satama, and it has been visited and observed by personnel from around the world, as well as from large Japanese enterprises. From now, we are considering continuously producing 2,000 projects, which have been referred to as small mode, for different places of Japan. Secondly, now we first need to produce 1,000 jars in Mie Prefecture, and 3 months later, we will need to make 2,000 jars in Okinawa. We have received an endless stream of projects which we are planning to address one by one.
Thank you, ma'am, for this question. I take the liberty now to reflect a bit about our international strategy. Ma'am, as you would imagine that this technology is something which brings a very impressive cost efficiency in the price of the fuel. So we do intend to market the price of this biofuel at the market levels to ensure the consistency of pricing. At the same spirit, when we talk about specific projects, it's too early for us to be able to reflect, ma'am, in terms of what specific countries and the precise timeline. But we hope that during the course of next 3 months, we will make very proactive visits to the clientele that we represent in our phase 1 strategy in hopes to be able to sign commercial relationships with MAS TAC as one counterparty, and we intend to strategize per country MAS TAC of each nation. So MAS TAC Saudi, MAS TAC UAE, MAS TAC India, MAS TAC Pakistan, and so on and so forth. In all sincerity, it is, I don't have the visibility of the exact demand, but I imagine that given the importance and the eco-friendly source of this kind of biofuel will certainly have a very impressive demand from these countries.
この タクさんの技術は非常にインプレッシブな技術で、今までもさまざまな技術を見てきましたが、コストに関しては比較できないぐらいの、技術でもあり、そういったこともあって、今、西浦社長がリッター30円ということでおっしゃってましたが、それに関して、販売価格としては、マーケットプライスで販売をしていくつもりです。また、今この時点で正直に申しますと、具体的にどこそこの国でとか、どういったプロジェクトを見込んでいるとかっていう情報は、まだ、そのお伝えできるような情報はございませんが、ただ、3ヶ月後には、各その MAS クリアサイトグループが、活動している、国々で、MAS TAC のレプレゼンテーションを、作っていきたいと思っています。例えば、パキスタン、インド、当然 UAE、サウジアラビア、っていうところで、マスタックを設立していって、そこでMAS クリアサイトの、グループの顧客に対して、どんどん積極的に、この技術を進めていきたいと思っております。
よろしいでしょうか。他ご質問ございますか。
Any other questions? My name is Ogawa from Nomura Research and Advisory. Thank you for your presentation today. I have two questions. First, I guess there are many varieties of oil made from algae, and I want to know if it is possible to produce regular glycerin or special oil. Second, except sunshine, we need the addition of organic or inorganic nutrients, etc., for the cultivation of algae. If the material you added is definite, I want to know its category and subsequent purchase policy. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. Firstly, I want to answer the question about variety of oil. It is vegetable oil, specifically triglyceride. In order to obtain biodiesel, we have to perform transesterification and then use the approach of biological dieselization. You also asked about relative situation. Well, basically our AY costs in overseas is very high, so it is not so cost effective. This is pretty much the situation. We have developed a low-cost production technology using natural raw materials, and by virtue of that, we are finally able to declare to the world that a simple arrangement of large quantity of jars can realize a system of full supply. As for its content, let's put it in the black box first, and if we find ourselves in a situation in the future where it's required to publicize, we will make it publicized to the possible extent. Thank you.
じゃあご質問。
My name is Okada from Bloomberg News. Mr. President just said that the complete equipment had been set up in Kumagaya, Saitama, and a 1,000-jar project will be constructed in Me. So can I ask the probable time frame for that? Okay, we have completed construction in Kumagaya, Saitama. The facility is available for visit and observation. However, due to safety considerations, there are certain parts that we try not to publicize to a very large extent. If you have any questions, please do contact us and we will give you a reply. As for things going on in Me, it is as scheduled to finish the project by June and may be delayed by half a month. Meanwhile, our current schedule is to finish the project in Okinawa by August or September. We have been considering managing to produce around 4 sets of complete equipment for domestic use within this fiscal year. Excuse me, if we use this complete equipment for production, when will be the time for the actual sale and commercialization of the business? At present, we have cooperation with big companies in this regard, and they have given large sum deposit in biodiesel. In export strategy, instead of selling our products to normal people, we cooperate with cooperation partner and export directly, and the import and export will be firmly controlled by our process. After next year, we will be able to manage larger volume manufacturing from which we can see that the market is changing itself. Then generally speaking, it will be next year, the timetable from this year to next year. Yes, instead of biodiesel, it is better for us to operate the business model focusing on base oil, and we intend to establish a partnership with several companies with complete equipment of biodiesel in Japan. In addition, many biodiesel plants in Japan use waste cooking oil. The oil we produce is virgin oil, which does not contain residues of dirty tempura. Accordingly, we can introduce simpler plant facility of biodiesel than before to reduce cost level. Excuse me, I have another question. Like you said just now, you have developed a partnership with large listed companies. Could you tell us which are those companies? I am sorry that I cannot tell you yet, since they are listed companies, so I think they will disclose it in the annual report later. How about I contact you then? My name is Magawa from Chemical Industrial News Agency. Could you please tell us the capital of the new established MAS TAC company?
Hi, so the capital of MAS TAC will be determined because it's a company which will go into multiple countries. So we will start with a capital which is focusing on Japan to start with. The Okinawa plant is the one that MAS TAC will be putting together as the first plant under MAS TAC's name. And then internationally, it's very difficult to forecast the capital because I think it will run in multi-millions of US dollars.
そのマスタックの資本金に関しましては、マスタックというのはかなりいくつかの会社をこれから設立しますし、また日本の沖縄プラントに関してもマスタックがすべてファイナンスをしていくつもりもありますし、その資本金に関しての金額というのはどんどん広がっていくっていうこともあり、マルティミリオン、ドルでマルティミリオンということで考えていただければと思っております。はい、すいません。よ
ろしいでしょうか。他ご質問ございますでしょうか。
Is that a satisfactory answer to you? Any other questions?
I'd like to, from Bloomberg News, Yuri Hamba. I'd like to ask you a little bit on the international strategy. So far, the production seems to be mainly based in Japan. Will there be any production outside of Japan? Also, could you give some production or sales targets that you have, say, in the next 3 years? And I know you mentioned that the capital is as yet a developing theme, but any idea of investment amount that you plan to put in, again, immediately or over the next 2 or 3 years? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Sorry.
そうですね。質問を通訳させていただきます。まずMAS クリアサイトの 具体的な販売ストラテジー、拡大していくストラテジーを聞かせていただきたいと。でまた、そのターゲットしている売上の金額だとか、またその、沖縄プラントに、資本を入れるということでしたが、もう少し具体的な金額が、分かれば、今後6ヶ月間、あるいは、今後3年間の投資計画、その販売計画、売上の計画、そういったところを、教えていただければと思っております。また日本中心に、生産をされるっていうことを聞きましたが、日本以外での地域でも、今後、6ヶ月以内、あるいはこれから3年間の間で、生産をする、予定があるかどうか、そういった話を聞かせていただきたいと思っております。I hope I didn't miss. Thank you.
So I thank you once again for your question. I take the liberty to address in the following manner that the capital for the MAS TAC Japan initially will be targeted at $8 million. That more or less is the high-level budget of setting 2,000 farming tanks for algae and the necessary operating and capital expenditure foreseen with that. Now, the economic reality will change dramatically because most of the countries where we hope to bring MAS TAC under this joint venture in terms of technology have no scarcity of land, and there is ample seawater. And the dollars and cents, once again, please don't misunderstand, I'm not hedging the question, but it is, it can be beyond comprehension, because can you imagine the technology where the comparative crude oil, which is being presented to the world at large, this is not only a better quality, but it's being presented at 1/3 to be awfully conservative in terms of its price for bringing to the market. Now, that being said, we will intend to have in Dubai itself our first facility outside Japan, and then we will use Dubai as the hub in order to launch different countries, and our extremely, awfully conservative estimates in order to go into countries is to be able to identify local partners there. And as you can fully appreciate that it will become an awfully long discussion to be able to present the potential local partners across different nations. So once again, in all humility, I'd like to be able to state for the record that the visibility of capital for MAS TAC International will be, based on our strategy, will be a country-specific capital, whereby MAS TAC as a holding company will have either independent subsidiaries of MAS TAC in country-specific, and we will have a distribution model, either go into proprietary money production or go into a joint venture with potential customers in each country. So forgive me for not being able to present you the concrete dollars and cents, because it's extremely hard to forecast and predict that. Thank you.
資本金に関しましては、先ほども説明した通り、具体的な数字は、非常にそのさまざまなポテンシャルがあるため、一つの数字を言うのは非常にその難しいんですが、ただ先ほども説明した通り、沖縄で2000タンクのプラントをMAS ClearSightが資本を入れていくっていうことでしたが、そこに関しては、US ドルで8ミリオン800万ドルを投資をしていくつもりです。800万ドルで、タンク、そのプラントのコスト、運営費、などなどを含めた計算になっております。また、その今後のその日本以外での展開に関しましては、まずはドバイで拠点を作りまして、ドバイの方で生産をしていく予定をしております。でドバイをハブにしてですね、 そこから、枝を作っていって、MAS クリアサイトが、拠点を持っている国々に、枝を伸ばしていくっていう計画をしております。で、その売上だとか、そういった数字に関しては、今具体的な数字はその説明できる数字は持ってませんが、ただ、考えていただければ、我々がいる地域では、土地は非常に豊富にあり、その水はないですか、豊富にはないですが、シーワーター、海水の水は、豊富にあります。で、土地もあるところで、海水の水を使ってそれをエネルギーに、変えられるっていう技術が、実現できれば、これは最もすごい、ことが起きるんではないかと。で、そういった形にそういった素晴らしい技術の下でその地域で、ビジネスを拡大していくことは間違いないと思っております。またその、地域での資本に関しては、我々としては、プライベートエクイティ、そのプライベートのビジネスから、資金を調達したり、または、ジョイントベンチャー、その各国の、企業様、または政府との、提携っていうところでモデルを作っていきたいと思っておりますので、今後さまざまなモデルがあると思いますが、一応ドバイを拠点にして、そこから、子会社にしたり、あるいはジョイントベンチャーにしたり、あるいはまた別の会社にしたり、それはこれから、いろんなケースによって、ビジネスを拡大していくつもりです。
My name is Io from Electric News. Could you please tell us the entire process of this technology, such as when and where was the improvement and technical research conducted? Please tell us about this. The company has started research cooperating with technicians from countries all over the world about 8 years ago. Concentrating in Asia, various demonstration experiments have been implemented again and again. Finally, reproducibility in warm area has been confirmed, but not that in the cold area. Last year, in slightly cold area in South Korea was confirmed, and we will inform you the details of the place later. We have confirmed the annual reproducibility and recovery rate in the area of -16 degrees Celsius, from which we can tell this technology can also be applied in Japan. So we publicized our results last year. Partial information has already been made public 3 years ago. However, the result was under the approval stage, so the public paid little attention to that microalgae manufacturing oil. So we did not make excessive announcement to the outside at that moment. Since last year, people became interested in it, and finally our projects got people's attention. That is the whole story.
ほとんど皆さん興味がなかったみたいでお声かからなかったんですが、ようやく昨年ぐらいから機運が上がってきて、ようやく皆さんから注目を浴びさせていただくような状況になってきたというような流れでございます。
よろしいでしょうか。
I guess everyone is clear about that now. Next, we will hold a signing ceremony for the joint venture established by the two companies. Please come to the front if you want to take a picture.
お写真とご希望される方は前方の方にお越しください。 よろしいでしょうか。それでは署名はありましたようですので、ちょっと場所を変えて、写真撮影の方を行わせていただきたいと思います。よろしいでしょうか。
The commercial production outweighs the current proposed. Associated with this technology. Sorry for the questions. Thank you very much for coming. Pleasure. Thank you.
さまざまな日本の上場企業様と JV を組みながらやっていくっていうような状況になっております。はい、よろしくお願いします。
Great honor to